Priyansh and I are back, diving deep into something everyone goes through but rarely talks about. What really happens to friendships when you start to grow? Why do people drift away when you're becoming better? And is that a loss or just part of the journey? Stick around. This one's personal. All right, Priyansh, let's roll. So tell me this. Why do people fear losing friends when they start improving themselves? Why does growth feel like betrayal? Not just to others, but sometimes even to yourself.
I think it's obvious. Why do you form friendships in the first place? You form friendships because you have a similar place that you hang out in. You form friendships because you like the same hobbies. You form friendships because you were in the same school or in the same college. Your social circles are same, or your place of habitat is the same, or something. There is some similarity. And what does change do? It brings in difference. So when difference starts to creep in, that similarity which formed and sustained the bond, it stops being there, and therefore that friendship will fade. I think that is very obvious.
Right. It is obvious, but it's also kind of tragic, isn't it? Because the very thing that makes friendship feel deep, shared identity, is also what makes it fragile in the face of change. So here's a question. Is there any kind of bond that survives your transformation? Or does every relationship eventually have to be sacrificed at the altar of growth?
There might be certain bonds that do survive. I mean, bonds that do grow with you or do transform in the face of it. I mean, those are the nice way of saying it. But in reality, bonds that are formed on something else. Bonds that are sustained by something else. For example, let's say someone and I do share a very large history. Now the context of that bond that we have is so much that no matter what happens ahead in life, we will just not let go of that bond because it's too much baggage to let go of. That is one way to go about it. The other way to go about it is that you just have that shared spark interest, something between you two guys that you don't find anywhere else. So rarity of a bond is also what makes it stay. Two ways.
Exactly. So the bonds that survive aren't the ones built on shallow routines or proximity, they're the ones with depth or uniqueness. Either too much history to discard, or too much spark to replicate. But that kind of makes you wonder how many of our current friendships are actually rare? Or are most just convenient?
I mean, I'll give you an answer, and it's going to sound sassy, but it is true. It's rare. It doesn't exist. I mean, it does exist, but that's the point, right? If those friendships are rare, so even among your own friendships, it's going to be rare. So, like one or two.
Exactly. And that's what makes growth feel so damn lonely. You start climbing and you look around, and most of the people you thought would be there aren't. Because they were never really climbing with you, they were standing next to you at base camp. You just happened to be near each other.
Exactly. But you don't have to see life like that, right? You don't have to see life in a way where you're losing friends. You can see life like a train journey where you're sitting, and with you there are other people sitting in the same coach. So you talk to them, you form friendships, you form bonds, and they have different stations that they have to get off of. And once they get off those stations, new people will come and sit. So life is not a journey where you lose friends. Life is a journey where you meet a variety of people, where you grow in a variety of ways, and when you have so many experiences. Because when someone leaves your life, they create a slot for someone new to come in, a new experience, a new challenge, novelty.
Yeah, exactly. And thinking of it that way reframes the loss. It's not abandonment, it's transition. They left because their station came. And yours is still up ahead. So what do? You keep looking out the window, you stay open to whoever walks in next.
Exactly. And therefore, life is basically fun, actually. It's not sad, it's just fun. Because at the end of the day, you're existing, so you have the capacity to experience. So why not experience more rather than experiencing less? Because life itself is not going to last. So what are we trying to make these random things last? That is only limiting our own possibilities.
Yes, exactly that. The moment you realize that permanence was never the point, everything changes. It's not about preserving moments, it's about flowing through them fully. Letting yourself feel, connect, detach, and grow. Life's not a monument, it's a river.
Exactly. So let the river flow, enjoy life, get experiences, and transform, change, grow, evolve. Because that is your ticket to the next station where someone else is going to come and you're going to have even more experiences.
Beautifully said. And every person, every bond, every moment, they're all part of the current that's shaping you into who you're meant to become next. So don't fear change. It's the vehicle, it's the ride.
Exactly. So friendships are not uh, permanency that you lose, but rather friendships are people who share a part of your journey together.
And that was today's reflection. Growth might mean losing people, but it also means gaining new versions of yourself. Priyansh and I will keep diving deep, asking the uncomfortable questions, and reshaping how we see the world. Because at the end of the day, it's not about holding on, it's about flowing forward. And remember, patterns are everywhere.